This is a presentation about ice cores and why they're important. By now, I am sure you have heard of the monster known as climate change. Scientists always point to data from thousands of years in the past to show that the Earth's climate is changing rapidly. But we didn't have thermometers back then, so how do they get this data? Let me introduce you to the ice core. Now, ice cores are fundamentally pretty simple. Scientists drill into a sheet of ice or a glacier to recover the ice from hundreds of thousands of years in the past. These cylindrical cross-sections are called ice cores. Why do they do this, you may ask? Well, ice cores serve as historical records of the past. Let's see how it works. Ice cores form from yearly snowfall. I'm sure it doesn't surprise you to know that snow falls every year in the Antarctic. But what may be less obvious is what happens to the snow underneath from previous years. The old snow compacts, forming crystalline structures in the shape of a bunch of tiny hexagons, which form the structure of ice. This hexagonal shape is the reason ice is less dense than water. Yet this hardening also has an interesting side effect. When the ice layer crystallizes, particles, and more importantly gas molecules such as CO2 and methane become trapped. As a result, we are able to measure the fundamental makeup of the atmosphere thousands of years ago, simply by measuring the frequencies of particular bubbles.
Even the water itself says something about the past. See, some water molecules contain the atoms 18O and 2H, better known as deuterium, which contain more neutrons than standard 16O and 1H, meaning that these water molecules are larger than normal. Side note, these alternate atoms are referred to as isotopes. The percentage of these water molecules is very telling of Earth's temperature at that point in time. See, certain isotopes exist in equilibrium with the temperature at the time. For instance, deuterium and 18O tend to be more prevalent during colder temperatures rather than hotter temperatures. The reason for this is that larger molecules and atoms are just harder to evaporate at cooler temperatures. They require more energy. As a result, simply by measuring the concentrations of these isotopes, you could deduce the temperature of a certain time period, which you have to admit is pretty cool. Studies have been used to show a correlation between the presence of certain gases and the overall temperature of the Earth over time, and an interesting pattern appears to have emerged. See, the presence of CO2 and CH4 in the atmosphere has been closely linked to the recorded temperature of previous years. When the CO2 and CH4 concentrations go up, the temperature appears to go up, and when they go down, the temperature follows suit, strongly suggesting the existence of the greenhouse effect. The greenhouse effect is a process by which certain gases, such as CO2 and CH4, in the atmosphere trap the sun's heat, causing the Earth to become warmer, which is not inherently a bad thing. It prevents me and you from getting hypothermia. The problem arises when there's too much greenhouse gases in the atmosphere. This is particularly troubling when you take note of the carbon dioxide concentration of today compared to previous years. See, according to the British Antarctic Survey, in the article Ice Cores and Climate Change, the carbon dioxide concentrations over the last 800,000 years has fluctuated between 200 and 300 ppm. Yet today, the concentration of CO2 has been recorded to be 400 ppm, far surpassing the concentrations of the past.
So, you may be asking, what can I do? How can I be part of the solution to end global warming? Well, there are a number of things you can do to reduce emissions. You can drive less, you can prevent food waste as much as possible, you can conserve electricity, you can form environmental awareness groups, you can do a lot. Yet, in order for any actual changes to get done, it requires the effort of the entire planet, not just one person. So, we call out to everyone, no matter what your beliefs are, what your age is, where you grew up, or any other potential altering factor to at least contribute a little bit to helping save our planet. After all, it doesn't hurt to turn off your devices for 1 more hour.